What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Helen Gitlevich. I'm Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is happiness or unhappiness with myself. What if happiness is a choice, not an emotion or a feeling? What if unhappiness is another choice? Which one would you choose? So let's have a conversation about happiness and unhappiness, especially in today's world where there was COVID and then there was a death of George Floyd. In Minnesota, actually a murder of George Floyd. And my heart goes out to his family, and I would like to give sincere condolences in his memory. And let's talk about what happened after. Peaceful demonstrations are wonderful because this way the discrimination, the racism should not exist in our world. Consciousness includes everything and judges nothing, but still, it's not about the color of the skin. And yet, there are some people that are choosing violence and unhappiness. And what's interesting, we were just talking a couple of minutes ago that in Dallas, there was a demonstration, peaceful demonstration that got out of hand. And it was white men that were instigating the violence that created that the police used tear gas. So how much of has nothing to do with color of the skin, but the emotions, and I'm actually saying emotions and feeling of people around. Because it's not about African Americans or Anglo-Saxons or Jews or any background. It's about what person chooses. And a lot of times we misidentified a lot of things that actions, not necessarily our actual actions. It could be reactions to what's happening. And anger actually not necessarily is productive in changing the world. Because anger is one of those destructor implants. It's a programming that specifically created so we don't see what's in front of us. Because in front of us is racism, hate, and unhappiness of the world. And people were cooped up in their isolation for so long with a virus. They were angry. They were sad. They were upset. And they just used this to spark the violence. Is violence answer? Is violence making you happy? No, it never did. Remember that eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. What does it create in the world? Blind people and toothless people. What if we don't follow that? Because even in the Bible, we talk a lot about forgiveness. And forgiveness is not about forgetting it. Forgiveness is not about, oh, you hurt me, you killed a person, a human being, and we have to forget it. No. Forgiveness is letting our emotions go and acting on what's required in front of us. Forgiveness is about, don't ever do that again. Otherwise, I'll kill you. But you don't harbor those emotions. So my invitation is, I'm doing both modalities, access consciousness and Akashic records. Today, I probably will talk a little bit more about Akashic records, about karma. What is karma? Karma is when you do something and react, it creates a reaction in another person, and it might take another lifetime to pay the debt, unfinished business. Do we have to carry all of that? Like that policeman probably created a karma for himself for the next lifetime, or maybe for this lifetime. And yet it created so much awareness in people. So my invitation right now for people who feel angry and unhappy about everything that's going on, right now, to go into that and ask yourself, do you want to hold on to those emotions? Do you want to keep feeling that? Because feelings and emotions are extremely low vibration, and they keep bringing you down more and more. Or would you like to change that and go into awareness and happiness, and then choose what actions would you choose? What would create more in the world? Emotions of happiness, joy, or anger, hate, guilt, blame, shame, and regret? What if we don't have to? Because when we keep going into violence, when we keep going to hate, no matter what color of the skin is, no matter what your nationality is, religion, sex preference, because I grew up, like you would say, oh, I'm white, and I don't know what discrimination and hate is. I'm Jewish. I grew up in extremely anti-Semitic society in communist Russia, where I was called names. Luckily, nobody hit me. Actually, they tried. I retaliated in that moment, which kind of created more respect for me, I guess. But there were kids that were beaten within an inch of their lives in front of me, where I had to step in and stop the violence. And yes, I was angry at that time, but was it actually anger? And we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later, that anger, because I would like to read a forgiveness prayer to shift something that maybe has been for centuries holding people prisoner in both worlds, the white and the blacks, gay community and heterosexual community, Jews, Arabs, Jews and Germans. Any conflict that's been with Chinese, with Korean, all of those conflicts, let's bring all of that energy of hate and guilt and shame, and let's let go of those feelings that's not allowing us to be present in our lives. And those feelings distract us from actually there. How much of those things are instigated by corruption, by people who want you not to see what is there, what's going on in the world? It's a famous divide and conquer. My invitation is, let's come together in consciousness. Let's start with forgiving whatever we need to forgive, and especially forgive ourselves for any judgments we've done. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, heard to anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have experienced that was done, been, seen, heard to me by anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, and heard to me, by me, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. In order for us to feel anger, to feel hate, to be upset with something, it means that somewhere, somehow, in some other lifetime, we did that or been that. We cannot react or not react to something unless we've been that and done that. It's that karma that keeps perpetuating and perpetrating on ourselves all of those things that keeps us stuck in misery and unhappiness. And yet we're still choosing the unhappiness most of the time because it's comfortable. It's what we know. What if we choose happiness no matter what's going on in our lives? I remember when I was doing Phoenix Rising Yoga about 20 years ago, and we did a meditation on Osho tarot cards. And we were not doing the tarot card reading, but we had to pull out one card that kind of like had a picture in it and meditate what it means to us. The picture that I drew was three women dancing in the rain, actually in a storm. And to me it was, no matter what's going on in my life, in the world, I can choose to dance in the storm. I can choose to be happy. And that's my invitation. It's time for our first break of today's show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we'll continue to discuss happiness or unhappiness. Is that a choice? And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message? The world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is happiness or unhappiness. So before we went on a break, we were discussing staying happy no matter what's going on in your life or in the world. And what does it mean to be happy? Because a lot of times we look at meeting our necessity as happiness, but is that true? To me, happiness is a space of being where we can actually be ourselves, be present, and stay calm, peaceful, joyful. All of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory is a mantra of access consciousness, where all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. That's pretty much dancing in the rain. Doesn't matter what's going on. If it's looting and riots, a peaceful demonstration, or everything is wonderful and peachy and we are on vacation, the idea is to be happy no matter what. Because it's internal. But what happens is a lot of times we resist and react or align and agree with a lot of things that's going on around us. And it doesn't matter if you align and agree or resist and react. That, by the way, is Access Consciousness Tools. It has what's called an interesting point of view, being in total allowance of what's going on. And the more you're in total allowance, the more happy you can become if you choose it. But people a lot of times choose either to align and agree or resist and react. Just like what was going on with the murder of George Floyd. Half of the people align and agree with the wrongness of that, and half of the people agree. Well, I don't think anybody agreed that it was the right thing, because there is no universe where it could be a right thing to do, to kill another person. That's insane. Because every life is precious, no matter what it is, who it is, what color it is, what sex it is. It's a totally never can be a right, good, correct. But there is no right and wrong in the world. It's just what is. So when we align and agree with people who are rioting and looting, we actually keep it in place. Or if we resist and react and saying it's wrong, it also keeps it in place. The idea is not to be a pacifist and not stay disconnected and totally ignore what's going on, but be in total allowance of what people choose. Because everything is a choice. People can choose to die, people can choose to kill, people can choose to steal, and people choose to be conscious. Because the only evil in the world is unconsciousness and anti-consciousness. Because we all are infinite beings. We all are spiritual beings, souls, in the body, in the embodiment. Because embodiment, it's not just our body. It's the whole world. We are part of it. We are a drop in the ocean, but we are ocean itself. When one person experiences hate, experiences sadness, grief, we all experience it. The whole world right now is in grieving. And if we experience happiness, the whole world experiences happiness. So what if we can choose for ourselves each individual drop, each individual butterfly can flip our wings and cause hurricanes or cause amazing breeze that can change the world? What if we can be the hurricane of happiness, hurricane of forgiveness, hurricane of joy, ease, and glory that can create more consciousness in the world? So the unconsciousness and anti-consciousness cannot exist, so the evil cannot exist. So let me read forgiveness prayer again. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, heard, to anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have experienced that was done, been, seen, and heard to me by anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, and heard to me, by me, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. And what would I like right now is to invite you to a meditation, to shift your perspective on everything that's going on in your life, in the world, and see if we can change it by changing our point of view. What if we are magical? What if magic is real? And what if you, by being the magical unicorn, the magical dragon, can just shift things, maybe by breathing fire, as a dragon would, or by piecing glitter, like the unicorns do? What if you can be that magic that creates, that sparkles and invites the elementals, the magical micro creatures that can create more happiness, more giggles? And laughter actually cures it all. So if you're not driving, close your eyes, or you can keep them open, whatever you prefer. Sit down, lay down, whatever you choose. And open your crown to the divine light, to the universal light of consciousness, and allow it to go through your head, through your brain, through your body, through your heart, and exit through your feet, all the way to the core of the earth. And pull the energy of earth, connect to Earth and bring energy of Earth through your body, through your heart, and out of your head. And allow those energies to mix in your heart. Allow it to swirl. Allow it to be multicolor or one color, whatever you see as a ball of energy, ball of light that starts expanding from your heart. And the more you pull energy from the top and from below, keep expanding that light. And as the light expands, like a ball, like a sphere, allow that light to melt any obstacles that's in front of you, back of you, side of you, top and bottom. Kind of any obstacles, any problems, any emotions, any feelings you have, allow that light to melt it. Bring all of it into that light and melt it and keep melting it and expanding it. Maybe a mile or a kilometer if you're in everywhere other than the United States and England. 10 miles, 10 kilometers, 1,000 miles. And allow yourself to expand with that ball of energy. Expand your consciousness. Make yourself bigger than Earth. And allow that light to go into every crevice of Earth, go through every person, and allow it to melt their obstacles, their blocks, their anger, their emotions that's not allowing them to be happy. Allow them to feel that ease in their bodies. Allow them to expand with the light. And let's melt all the evil that exists in the world, all the hate, all the bigotry, all the discrimination, racism, anything based on color, shape, sex orientation, anything that makes you different. We are all different, and yet we are one. Because when one is hurt, every one of us is hurt. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, heard, to anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have experienced that was done, been, seen to me by anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, and heard to me, by me, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. And stay in that space of expansion and love and gratitude and forgiveness until we come back. It's time for our second break of today. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we'll continue to discuss happiness or unhappiness? And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show topic is happiness or unhappiness. And before we went on a break, we were doing the meditation of expansion, gratitude, love. So what if, and by the way, how is your body feels after that? Mine feels much, much more at ease, and I'm actually happier than when I started the show. What if it's just a choice? What if us choosing the gratitude and forgiveness and happiness actually shifts the world? I would like you to kind of like look at the world right now after we did that meditation and see if anything changes in the energy of the world. Has it changed anything? I wonder. To me, it's maybe a little more ease with everything that's going on, at least in my world. What if our points of view are magical and we can change the world? There is an amazing book by Dr. Dane here, and he's going to do a book club, I think starting in a couple of days, Being You Changing the World. And you probably can find it on Facebook. If you're listening in the recording, it's probably already somewhere on Facebook. What's interesting, when we say happiness is a choice, there was a class in Access Consciousness which was called Happiness is Just a Choice. It was years ago. I just started in Access, so I didn't choose that, which is interesting. And it was the smallest class in history of Access. I think they had like 10 people in the class and 10 people online. And I think when they offered it later on, maybe another 80 people chose it, compared to 3,000 people in the last foundation, global foundation. So how much are we actually refusing happiness and making every excuse and using every distraction? And remember I started talking about that anger, shame, blame, guilt, they all are distractor implants. They all distract us from what is true. Does anger, shame, blame, guilt make you feel light and expanded? No. Majority of that is lies. What if we didn't have the judgment about that? What if it's more about choosing what's true and allowing what's not true to melt or disappear? Look at all the anger and hate in your world, because we cannot do anything about other people's choices. They can choose what they choose. But, and I'm going to use but, which you're not supposed to kind of like negate. If you actually trying to push them to change, trying to push them to choose consciousness, they will resist and react and never change. That's where no choice universe comes in. If you be in total allowance of their choices, they can choose hate. They can choose do whatever they want. Then they have a possibility of changing. Doesn't mean you have to be present with that, or you have to not do anything with that. You can always ask, what can I be or do that will change that, and act, not react. What if we actually choose our action based on a choice? And what will create more? What will create more consciousness instead of doing another unconsciousness through our choice of reaction, choice to react. So how much are you willing to continue that perpetual wheel of karma of reaction? You kill, they kill. You kill, they kill. And how many lifetimes you've been a racist, and how many lifetimes you've been a slave or somebody who's been discriminated for or against. All of that continuous perpetual wheels of samskara, as they call it in Sanskrit, which is pretty much wheel of suffering, wheel of torture that we created ourselves. So what if we break that perpetual wheels of karma by using forgiveness and allowing ourselves to be totally happy no matter what or who is acting or doing what in our lives? And again, I'm not saying accepting it. Allowance is not acceptance. If there is an abuse, get out. Do something about that, but don't react emotionally. That's what I'm asking us, all of us, including me, because I do react. I do have emotional responses. It's not about being perfect. It's not about not doing it. And by the way, when we did that meditation before we went on a break, I had tears in my eyes. You cannot see it, but it was tears of gratitude of how much we can choose to be different, how much we can choose to be happy and expansive and expanded. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, heard to anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have experienced that was done, been, seen, heard to me by anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen and heard to me, by me, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. And just take a deep breath. And breathe out. And take another deep breath in. And another breath out. Guess what? Every breath you take consciously changes the molecules in the world. There was a movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? They were talking about that electron being a wave or a particle changes its state if we observe it. Everything in universe has consciousness, and it changes according to who and what is observing it. We influence everything in the universe on this planet by our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. What are you going to put in the world? Are you going to put in the world thoughts of hate, rage, fury? Are you going to put in the world anger, frustration, doubt, fear? Or are you going to put the thoughts of gratitude, peace, love, joy, and happiness? Which one would you choose to breathe out in the world? Let's do it again. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out the gratitude for our breath, for our bodies, for this green planet, green and blue planet. Take a deep breath in and breathe out the forgiveness for everybody and everything who did anything that we've decided is wrong, awful, mean, and vicious, and whatever we did to them, wrong, awful, mean, and vicious. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, heard, to anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have experienced that was done, been, seen, and heard to me by anyone or anything, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. I allow the forgiveness of the universe to flow through me, to cleanse me from anything that I have done, been, seen, and heard to me, by me, consciously or unconsciously, in any time, space, dimension, or reality. And it's time for our third and final break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we'll continue to discuss happiness or unhappiness. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is happiness or unhappiness. Before we went on the break, we were talking about what are we putting out in the world? What kind of thoughts, feelings, and emotions are we putting out in our environment, into earth, into the air, and to the people around us? Are we putting out emotions of fear? Are we putting emotions of anger, shame, hurt, upset? What if we actually consciously started putting out thoughts of love, gratitude, forgiveness? How much the world would be a different place? What if we were cognitive and conscious of what we are thinking, feeling, and choose based on that? And yes, happiness, joy, those are not feelings and emotions. So what if we actually started being those spaces of being, space of happiness, space of joy, space of gratitude, space of forgiveness, space of unconditional love, instead of the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of anger, shame, blame, regret, and guilt. And by the way, those are the programming, the distractor implants, distractor algorithms in our brain, because our brain is just nothing more than a computer. We are not our brain. Our brain just computes, and yes, it is a necessary thing, but what if we actually can allow the brain to do what it does best, the calculations and computations, and stop being controlled by it? What if we, because, by the way, can air be controllable? No. We are space and air. But we decided that we have to be solid. We have to be controllable by our brain functions, by our algorithms. And now actually we are going even further, because I just heard that there is a chip that is possible to put in a brain that can communicate with internet. Guys, that's not what we are going for. The idea is we know we are everything, and do we actually need a computer to tell us what to do? No. When we are in those spaces of being, we are being truly infinite being, and we are true to who we are, to what we are. So take another deep breath and cognitively and consciously breathe out whatever you would like the world to be, to think is, I kind of want to rephrase, I think that I am. What if I know that I be? And I be all of those. I be the power. I be the control. I be the awareness. And I be whatever you desire. And by the way, there is an amazing teleclass on Zoom. It's going on right now that I'm co-facilitating with Rachel Silver from Guatemala, How to Become Money Workbook by Gary Douglas, that already started last week on May 26th. And there is still time to join because you can listen and watch the recordings. And we talk exactly about how to be all of those things instead of think, feel, and having the emotions of all those lower vibrations of the distractor implants and algorithms. There are other classes that you can join me that you can see on my website. I'm doing bars class, actually a couple of them I think, online, and if the Chicago will be open completely, on June 14, I'll do a bars class live. Also foundation in both Russian language and English, also online and offline, and the body class that cannot be online. It has to be live. It will be in Buffalo Grove, which is Chicago suburb. And I just invite people to a different possibility, different way of functioning in this reality where we can totally be who we are without judgment, without anger, without totally creating the distractor algorithms that's not allowing us to be with whatever is in front of us. And that's what I call unconsciousness and anti-consciousness, where we are not aware of what we are doing when we are on autopilot, following whatever the media, the newspapers, the internet tells us what's true and real, instead of actually asking, what is true for me? What is actually real for me? Am I going to follow everybody who is stuck in this reality of hate, of racism, or am I going to choose a different world that we can all create by breathing out something that's totally different, that nobody else can stop? What if we can breathe out and breathe in consciousness? No matter how it looks like, what it looks like. What if the world is already changing? We're just not choosing to see it. Just allow yourself to be the magical beings that we all are. To be the magic that we know we can be. And be the leaders, conscious leaders of the conscious world. Doesn't matter if anybody follows us, no matter if anybody chooses it. What if we choose ourselves? And what if by choosing consciousness, love, choosing happiness, we allow other people to choose that? And with that, I'm going to leave you. It's the end of our show. Next time, we'll be talking about more.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your